r/ask Reddit. What's a real fact that some people don't want to accept? Not everyone is going to like you. You can't please everyone. You don't need to please everyone. When it comes to arguing, stating facts rarely change people's minds. Nothing really changes anyone's mind. I can't even imagine what it would take to change somebody's mind when it comes to politics or religion. Especially not a few facts said in an argument. It takes people years to change from liberal to conservative or the other way around. There's a reason it's a basic rule of good company to not discuss politics or religion. Being right about one thing doesn't make you right about everything. Also the inverse, but you were wrong about this one thing so now you can't be trusted for anything. If I could have one single wish made true, it'd be making my parents understand this concept. Life isn't fair, and sometimes bullcrap happens for no reason when you did nothing wrong. It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life. Also, someone winning does not mean you are losing. You can both win. Everybody thinks they are the hero of their story, even the villains. I always considered myself as a side character. I'm more the NPC running into a wall repeatedly not knowing what is going on. Edit a word or my first ever Reddit silver. In the name of what an idiot I am. Sounds about right. Everyone will die eventually and it more than likely won't be on their terms. One thing I sometimes think about is the fact that almost no one wakes up in the morning and thinks, yep, today's the day that I'm going to die, yet it happens all the time anyway. No zebra ever gets up and thinks I'm going to get ripped to pieces by a lion today, no matter how often it happens to other zebras. Almost no one wakes up in the morning and thinks, yep, today's the day that I'm going to die, as someone with higher levels of anxiety and panic disorder. I disagree. Edit so I can vent. My panic attacks are centered around having a heart attack or stroke. Any weird sensation around my chest area, left side of my body, etc. can spark a panic attack nowadays. Actually had a mini one just an hour ago while walking back from class. Felt like a weird sinking feeling in my chest and I had to stop and check my pulse and get my breath for a few minutes before I could walk again. I'm in my early 20s and have been to the ER numerous times. Had a bunch of EKGs. And went to the cardiologist last week and had a Holter monitor installed for a day. They all say I'm fine and I have nothing to worry about. But I just can't accept it. One of my biggest fears actually happened last week. I had a panic attack on an airplane flight. I pretty much tried to accept death at that point because the thought of having to ground the airplane due to my panic attack and the shame I would receive would be a fate worse than death. I downed a bunch of Klonopin, hoping that it would relieve my emotions quickly, and made constant trips to the bathroom because I had a window seat and felt trapped. It subsided after about 30 minutes of me pissing off the people sitting next to me. So thank God for that. Duck anxiety, duck panic attacks, duck everything. Edit 2. Thank you everybody for the support. It definitely does help, especially the comments with people going through a similar experience. As common as I hear this disorder is, I never actually see people in public who act the way I do when I'm going through it. I'm constantly checking my pulse, putting my hand in my shirt to feel my heartbeat, moving in odd positions. Simply sitting in the wrong position can spark a panic attack. I am convinced that I am now having panic attacks that are based on a fear of a possible incoming panic attack. Knowing that there are others of you like this out there gives me hope. Just because you're shouting doesn't mean you're correct. Bagels are the most oppressed group in Society/Bajelsra soup. There's a hole in that bagel argument. Most people think they're slightly more intelligent than the average person. They're not. Open bracket. Myself included. This realization hit me hard as a young college kid. I was one of those big fish, small pond kids when it came to academics. Got to college and learned that real ducking fast. On the other side of the coin, when I was first dating my now ex-wife, I met her family. Her brother-in-law asked what I did and said I went to college and work nights. His response, college? What are you? Gay? They literally, and I'm not kidding, thought I was gay because I went to college. My nephew thought I was gay until he was 18 because I went to college. Just so you know what the tail end of the spectrum is like. Things don't get better if you don't try to make them better. A. You are responsible for things that go wrong. B. Some things that go wrong are completely nothing to do with you and you cannot change that fact. The two most unpleasant facts of life. Edit. At fault or responsible on the good suggestions of many others below. Edit 2. To expand upon it a bit, as maybe my attempt at being clever wasn't so good, as a number of people seem to indicate. The point is, when a thing goes wrong that affects you directly, there are two possible ways it happened and one possible outcome regards resolution. What happened? 1. You ducked up. WH2. Something else ducked up. Outcome. You have to deal with it. Either you have to be responsible to fix the situation, or you have to take the responsibility to yourself that it's not within your power to fix the situation. Points A and B are purposely contradictory, the point being that if something affects you negatively, you are responsible for that negativity being resolved. You can't stop things happening, and you can rarely fix them. But this has nothing to do with whether or not that at the end of the day, it is only you who can deal with it. It is very related to you/Jasiga to comment that things don't get better if you don't try to make them better. But part of this responsibility is knowing that you have that responsibility regardless of whether it is your fault, and regardless of whether you can actually affect direct change on the situation. It is not a pleasant fact. It's not an easy mantra to live by, and by no means do I infer that failure to remember these points, live this way etc etc. should be considered weakness or failure as a person. Is the person who moves past a major negative incident better than the person who struggles to do so? No, just different. But the fact remains that this is the way it is. Final edit. I'm glad this sparked so much discussion and hopefully thought. If it's interested you, I can really recommend r/stoicism as a sub to discuss this in more depth. It may be for you, or may not, but is personally something I have found invaluable. I would say A is incorrect. I think it's more accurate to say you aren't always at fault for things that go wrong, but you still have to deal with the consequences. Edit. Since a lot of people keep saying that, I'm just repeating what OP said. Just wanted to clarify. OP went into a bit more detail and edited his original sentence to better reflect what he meant. So my correction is not longer applicable. No one owns life, but anyone who can pick up a frying pan owns death. Williams Burroughs. No one owns life, but anyone who can pick up a frying pan owns death. Williams Burroughs. PUBG. No one owns life, but anyone who can pick up a frying pan owns death. Williams Burroughs. PUBG. Michael Scott. Having an unpopular opinion doesn't necessarily mean it's a better one. If a post on r/unpopular opinion gets a lot of upvotes, isn't it actually a popular opinion? Yes. Also, r/unpopular opinion isn't really a place for sharing actual unpopular opinions. It's a place to say popular things in an edgy way. That's all. Hard work does not equal high performance. A lot of time leads to failure and then more failure. Go to learn to fail forward and not give up. This is graduate school in a nutshell. Specifically in science, learning to be okay with failure is probably the hardest lesson I've had to learn. You're supposed to use your turn signal anytime you make a turn or change lanes. Not only that, the turn signal is to tell people your intent to change lanes, so you should use it before you turn. Thank you. So many people don't understand that your turn signals are not for you, they are for everyone else. There's this big club, and you ain't in it. I wouldn't care to be in a club that accepts people like me anyway. I wouldn't want to be in a club that accepts this guy either. Participating in and deriving joy from other cultures and their activities is not the same thing as cultural appropriation. Edit. Thank you for my first Reddit silver, gold and platinum. Thank you. Yes, my fiance is from Iran. He loves it when I do my best to learn about and celebrate his culture with him. I put a Persian New Year decoration up that he bought me and someone accused me of cultural appropriation because I'm not Persian myself. He loves that. I want to celebrate his culture with him though. I also try to do my best to understand where the different customs come from and not to use it as a just fashion choice or accessory. Mental and emotional abuse are a very real thing that nobody teaches you about. Nobody really wants to talk about it either. Edit. 5 weeks 2 days out of an emotionally and mentally traumatizing relationship that turned very physical at the end. Before he laid hands on me, he beat my brain mental and soul daily. I know I'm not a doctor, but I very much believe he is a sociopath narcissist. I'm a 30th. He is 30 meters. We were together 2 years. The awareness I have and am continuing to gain is outstanding. For anyone who has had the strength to leave, you're my hero. Please, teach me everything you know. To anyone suffering, scared, confused, you're not the problem. You're not crazy. You don't need to calm down, stop, or relax. It's very healthy to feel and know you deserve better. You are a victim of something they don't teach you about. If it doesn't feel right in your soul, it's not. Not everyone can relate to the internal soul bruises and cuts, the beatings that take place with no fists, the lengths you'll go to cover up your life bubble from popping, the one you created for yourself when he was molding you into what he needed to fill his ego cup. His delivery and life is cunning, cold, calculated, manipulative. I am a survivor, a whole warrior. I have a voice. I will use it. Be safe, kind and good to yourself and others. Always. Thank you so very much for all of the kind words, guys. It really does heal my soul to know we're not in this alone. I appreciate all of you, more than I can express with words. Thank you again. It also takes a lot of time and almost always outside help to overcome that kind of trauma. Obesity is not healthy and is generally from eating too much. Edit. Thought I should edit this because people keep commenting it. Yes, obesity itself is from eating too much. I said generally because I understand that some people have mental conditions that make it difficult to stay within their recommended daily calorie intake. I lost 70 plus lbs pretty much just by watching my calories and moving a little more. It was a simple process, albeit not always an easy one. But when people ask me what my secret is, you'd think I'm telling them advanced alien voodoo rocket science or something. It's obvious they're expecting me to give them some sort of magic trick that will do all the work for them, like a pill or something. And then come the lame, unprovoked excuses like, oh, that would never work for me. Fatness just runs in my family. That's a direct quote from a coworker. Or I could totally do that too. I'm just too easy to plan out all my meals. Or they claim that science is always changing about what is considered healthy and unhealthy. And the list goes on and on. I like to play a fun game where I take off a mental checklist all the excuses I said to myself too when I hear them being said right back to me XD. People want to believe that losing weight is easy but very complicated, when in reality it is the exact opposite. People don't dislike you because you're honest. They dislike you because you're an a-hole. Mayo, I felt this one. I'd always believed that being straightforward and refusing to pretend to like someone was the only right way to do things, and that when people would hate me for it, it was because I was honest about them. Turns out that's not how it always works, and you can't always justify being an a-hole to people claiming you're just being frank with them. I'm still pretty rude sometimes, but I'm working on it. Comes with experience, I suppose. Many people don't wash their hands in the bathroom unless they see someone else in the bathroom. What the duck, why do none of you wash your hands? My buddy explained it well when confronted. I don't piss on my hands. Nuclear is the safest source of energy and a viable solution to reduce our CO2 emissions. Edit. Thanks for the shiny stuff. I'm fine with nuclear power. But is it actually safer than solar? I haven't seen that claim before. The manufacturing of solar panels and large batteries is actually pretty dirty. Wind, tidal, thermal, and nuclear energies are super clean. We just need to make that damn repository so the waste can be safe for reuse one day. Being a rep for an MLM does not mean having your own business. Also, it's impossible to make even minimum wage as an MLM rep without exploiting at least someone. Just give it a try. Would a mutual friend who hasn't spoken to you since the 9th grade but messaged you on Facebook out of the blue lie to you? It doesn't make you a CEO either. So get that shit off your social media profile like you think you're someone important. We are all living in the most wonderful time in the history of the world. This is a hard fact for a lot of people to accept. They would much rather think the end times are coming than appreciate how much we as a species have overcome. We can certainly do more to improve ourselves as a whole, and it is our duty to do better. But right now is one of the best times in human history to be alive. Well, you're right and also a bit wrong. Correct. This is probably the best time to be a human ever in history. Also correct. The end times are coming. The actions we have taken to make this the most comfortable time in history are also going to destroy the basis for that existence at a very, very, very fast rate. And the only way to avoid the worst aspects of that fate involve giving up some of our comforts. Click farms and bot influencing are real. The number next to the view count like favorites shares is a line of code, not empirical fact. Trends are purchased. Your subscription to free Reddit upvotes has expired. Please select a payment option $1. 20 upvotes per post for your next 10 posts. $10. 20 upvotes per post for your next 110 posts. Oh man. I recently adopted a cat from a cat rescue that's fairly well known. It went viral a couple years ago, so when I adopted my cat, I made a Facebook and Instagram so that the people who followed her when she was at the shelter, 24/7 live cams on the adoptable cats, could follow along. Facebook page management is ducking cancer, constantly asking me to pay money to promote, showing breakdowns of likes, unlikes and paid likes. It's frequently telling me things like you reached 1,500 people with this post. Pay $40 to boost it to reach more. It's super annoying. Like, I just want people to have a place where they can look at cute pictures of my cat. I don't care how many people I've reached. I'm not in this for likes and page views. Edit. Widget. https://imgur.com gallery/4wide5pa. Being a jerk doesn't mean that you're being just honest or keeping it real or helping anyone. 99 out of 100. You're just being a jerk and the only person benefiting is you. People who are brutally honest are more interested in being brutal than honest. No one really thinks about you, so stop worrying about what other people think about you because they're most likely thinking about their own problems. 20% of Reddit posts. Nobody cares about some stupid thing you did. Everyone is too wrapped up in their own problems. 40% of Reddit posts. OMG, there was a guy in my first class at university who used to wear the same clothes to every class and he always had the top button on his shirt buttoned like he was the ducking president of the world or something. Everybody used to call him the button baron. LOL, I cannot even. Other 40% of Reddit posts. No one thinks about me ever. LOL. The world isn't as simple as all the political and economic prodigy of Reddit believe. I'd go as far as to say that if your understanding of the opposing party makes them sound like comic book villains, you probably don't know as much about politics as you think you do. This comment would get you banned in a lot of political subs. Vaccines do not cause autism, you absolute pebbles. Edit. Thank you for the gold, stranger. May all your lives be long, happy and free of illness. Vaccines can cause an increase in the world's population and a larger population will have more autistic people in it. Studies have shown that unvaccinated kids have much lower chances of showing signs of autism than vaccinated kids. But that is mostly because kids rarely show signs of autism before the age of 4. The average person is significantly less conscious and autonomous than we like to pretend. We are a unique species in that we have the mental potential to break free from our base animal instincts. That doesn't mean everybody, or even a majority, of people actually reach that potential. Everybody thinks they're immune to propaganda. We're not. Well said, comrade. You're gon' die with hella regrets. Of course we're on Reddit. Being in the army doesn't make you a hero. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Trolls don't hate you. They just try to stir you up to get a reaction. If anything, they're just bored people who sit behind a screen. People on the internet can't help but give a feed the troll, when in fact most of them would go away if you just ignore them. Budgeting is not difficult. It is basic math. Credit cards are not magic free money. They will eat you alive. Budgeting is not difficult. It's basic math. You just don't have any self-control. Meet to me daily. You shouldn't have a child if you can't afford or look after one. And that doesn't just mean money. You need to spend time raising a child because otherwise, even though my uncle may disagree, you'll end up with kids that don't have any relationship at all with you. Sexual assault and rape towards males in prisons is not a laughing matter. Edit. I must thank the anonymous person that gave this comment gold. Also, I apologize to everyone that I did not phrase it as sexual assault and rape towards males is not a laughing matter, because that is what I actually meant to say. I am very glad that I got a discussion going. For a better understanding of this problem in media and in society in general, please watch this video, https://www.youtube.com/watch v=vecgxmzj00. Sexual assault and rape towards males in general is not a laughing matter. Feelings and being offended are not legitimate counter-arguments to a factual challenge. This is the kind of statement that everyone will ascribe to their enemies and agree with, even people diametrically opposed who would accuse the other of doing it. She's not into you, bro. She's just being nice. Edit. Whoa. First silver. Thanks Phantom Redditor. Edit number 2. Whoa. My first gold even. Thank you. Going to need a Keanu gif here in a minute. I accept this one wholeheartedly. I'm still not convinced my GF likes me. That not everybody is nice, or even capable of becoming decent people. Some people are just bad, and functioning psychopaths are all around us. Also, not all psychopaths are serial killers and not all serial killers are psychopaths. America is not immune to uprisings, dictatorships, and the collapse of democracy. If we allow it, it can happen here just as it has happened in other countries. The only real reason it has never happened before is because we're such a young country. Almost every society in history has had some form of slavery. Edit. Slavery is still a real issue throughout Africa right now. Don't buy Nestle products. Edit 2. I'm not saying slavery is okay. It's wrong. There is modern day slavery all over the world and people should be aware of it. Edit 3. Slavery is a real issue throughout the world. Be woke, people. The strong do as they please, and the weak suffer what they must. Politicians are heavily influenced by whoever gives them the most money. Most people act in their own best interests and that's okay. We have all a bad side, a side we don't want others to see, so we hide it away and put on a facade to cope with life. You are not special and very few people will ever care about you. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. That does not mean all opinions carry the same weight. Also 30 minutes of googling articles you already know you'll agree with does not count as research. Oh, you did research on climate change, vaccines, border security, any other subject? Let me read through your methodology. Was it qualitative or quantitative? Where was it published? Could I look at the data you gathered? What did the review board have to say about your processes? Were you sufficiently able to provide recommendations and disprove prevailing counterpoints? I researched this. Duck out of here. Edit. As a few people have mentioned, I don't think there's an expectation that people need to pore over academic literature to engage in thoughtful debate, even on Reddit. If you've read a few articles, say you've read a few articles. If you've looked into it briefly, say you looked into it briefly. If you think you have a subject figured out, say so. What bugs me, as someone who does legitimate research, is how carelessly the word research gets thrown around by people who have no concept of what it actually means and the threshold of quality that it implies. We are all getting older, all of us, all the time. You can fight it and you can make your face look like smooth plastic and your body look like a 12-year-old boy's with big tits, but that number is still only going to go in one direction. Most Republican and Democrat politicians don't give a shit about y'all. If he's cheated on you / hit you once, he'll probably do it again. The majority of people in this thread don't know the difference between a fact and an opinion. 50% of the time, everyone puts in the USB the correct way. Facts don't care about your feelings. People will not change their consumption habits or lifestyle choices to become more sustainable until the impacts of climate change pollution personally impacts them. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.